Our court case is Schenck versus the United States. I'm Samuel Alston.
And I'm Joseph Hoang. During World War I, the United States instituted a military draft to send soldiers over to fight in the war. Unsurprisingly, there were nationwide protests against sending boys to fight. One of these protesters was Charles Schenck, a member of the Socialist Party. He spread leaflets which told soldiers to resist their draft and stated that the draft violated the 13th Amendment, which prohibited involuntary servitude or slavery. Because of this, the government arrested Schenck for violating the Espionage Act. He later then sued the U.S., with the case going all the way to the Supreme Court. This is the first check your understanding question. Why was Charles Schenck arrested?
Schenck was in violation of the Espionage Act and believed that it infringed the First Amendment. He argued that with the rights of free speech given by the First Amendment, he could criticize the government's draft through his leaflets without any consequence and therefore should not have been arrested. Second check for understanding question is, what amendment did Schenck use in his argument?
The U.S. argued that the wartime circumstances, World War I in this case, changed the rules related to the rights of free speech, even though normally you could say what you wanted without consequence. The reason being that things that might be said during peacetime could hinder the government's war response, so a slight change in the rules during such times was necessary. This is the third check your understanding question. Under what circumstances did the U.S. argue allowed them to change the rights of free speech?
The Chief Justice was Edward D. White. The Supreme Court ruled unanimously against Schenck, with the vote count being 9-0. Due to the wartime circumstances, the rules related to free speech were changed. The court created the clear and present danger rule, which is a limitation to the right of freedom of speech. This limits words that are used to threaten safety or public interests that are imminent. With this, you have to be more careful of what you say since certain speech will lead to huge consequences. This is your fourth check to understand question. What was created to limit freedom of speech when used in obvious and imminent danger?
The significance of this case was that the freedom of speech given by the First Amendment wasn't absolute. For example, you could not say that there was a fire inside a crowded theater. Later on, the clear and present danger test would be used as a guide for issues regarding free speech until 1969's Brandenburg v. Ohio, which implemented imminent lawless action in place of clear and present danger. Imminent lawless action basically defines suppressed speech as speech that incited the imminent and likely violation of a law. This is the last check your understanding question. What replaced the clear and present danger clause and what did it state?
Thank you all for listening to our presentation.